It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games. Looking for music that lifts your spirit and fills your heart? Experience the powerful sound of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. Now streaming on all your favorite music platforms. Find the Tabernacle Choir on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Let the music of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square inspire you today and every day. Whether you're at home, in the car, or on the go, enjoy the beauty of their world-renowned sound anytime. The Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, streaming now.
All right. How about that?
Oh, boy.
4-2.
What an absolutely amazing night. Scotty, I just can't even tell you the insanity that is the Delta Center was just I've been here for Guns N' Roses. I've been here for some big shows, and I've never heard the Delta Center as loud as it was tonight. And even just trying to get down into the media room, which wasn't my goal, but I was trying to get back to KSL, and the halls are packed, and people are just chanting. This is just unreal. Like, such a cool night.
I was there for the first two periods, and then with the internet being a little sketchy, I thought I'd head back here so I could make sure I had good internet. And you know what? It was unlike anything. I've been to Jazz playoff games. I've been to a lot of things in that building. I can't remember an atmosphere like what we saw tonight. And how about the Mammoth delivering on that, feeding off that crowd, a 4-2 game that frankly wasn't that close. The Mammoth really took control of this game early with those 2 goals in the first, and frankly never looked back. I mean, it was an old-fashioned butt whooping.
It was, but you've got to look at the numbers too and realize.
I know the shots.
Veggie, the final shots were like 13 to 29. I don't have the final stats, but Veggie stood on his head for the Mammoth when they needed it. It's funny, before the game, I was down here for a press conference where they announced the outdoor game is going to be on New Year's Eve, by the way, which is really exciting. And I was down here for that. And I was talking to some of the media guys, and I said, I think Utah has a offensive explosion tonight. I think tonight it's not a 1-goal game. I predicted 5-2, and people looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm just guessing, right? But I just felt that the energy tonight was going to be enough to carry the Mammoth through. And then seeing Veggie's performance, he made huge saves. He was consistent. His rebound control was good. And, man, and then Lawson Krause. Like, what a game.
Yeah. How about
absolutely that? Amazing. Yeah. And you're a bigger man than me. I knew that the internet was going to be shady. I knew it was going to be hard to get down here to the media room. And I also knew I was going to make all the other people in the media room mad by going live on the air. I didn't care. I just wanted to be part of it. It was one of the most exciting times, like as a hockey guy growing up in Utah my entire life, to think the Stanley Cup playoffs were going to be at the Delta Center and that the Mammoth were going to handle it the way they handled it was just it's more than I could have ever hoped for. And, man, what a performance by the Mammoth. And like I said, Veggie, Krause, Keller was good. He was doing what he was supposed to do. And Kerfoot did all the dirty little work that, that you ask for a guy that doesn't show up on the score sheet. But, man, what a from top to bottom, Tuna, everybody was just phenomenal tonight.
The one thing that really jumped out at me is, Utah scores on the first power play. And, I don't know if you technically you don't call when they pull the goalie a power play, but they give up that late goal. But other than that, Utah was perfect on the power play. I think, 5-0 in terms of killing penalties? Or 4?
Yeah. I had it right. I had it right here before we went on the air so that I would know what I was talking about. But, yeah, perfect on the penalty kill. And finally, a power play goal.
Yeah.
We talk all the time about how important it is for special teams, especially in the playoffs. When playoffs start, it comes down to goaltending and special teams. and to finally get a power play goal. It's the first one of the playoffs. Sorry, there's a lot of people going around. It's the first one of the playoffs, and for Dylan Gunther to get on the board with that, and for it to look like it looked, I mean, from Keller to Cooley to Gunther, the one-timer, that is Mammoth hockey, and they showed Vegas, they showed the NHL that this is how we got here, and this is how we're going to advance.
This was a statement game, not only for these players, but for this organization, for the state of Utah, that somebody outside of the Jazz can be one of the big four sports and be very, very successful here and have the crowd, have the energy, have the atmosphere. I mean, it was just like a perfect showcase of sports here in Utah and a crazy rabid fan base and what it means. And to see these players feed off of that, because I think there's been some moments throughout the first 2 years where this team so desperately wants to play well in front of this home crowd that I think sometimes they stumble a little bit. Bill Armstrong has talked about that. And for them to play such a great, complete game tonight in front of that fan base, giving them their first ever victory at home in their first ever home game, I mean, you can't ask for anything better.
Oh, man, it was so cool. And that's one of the things we talked about on the radio this morning was it's almost an obligation for the Mammoth to win tonight, right? They feel that obligation. The guys that were in Arizona last year or 2 years ago, and for everybody else, they appreciate the Utah fan base and they want to perform for them. And to see what they did tonight, you felt maybe there were some little jitters at the beginning, maybe holding onto the stick a little too tight, but they really came out and performed for the fan base. And I'll tell you what, if you were a casual fan when you came to the game tonight, if somebody at work gave you tickets, or like if you're that lucky, right? But if you were just kind of a casual fan and you came tonight, you're addicted. After this game tonight, you're addicted, 100%.
Yeah, there's no going back after this one for sure. If I were to go back to the start of the series before game one, and I were going to tell you, Jay, after game 3, Utah would be up 2-1, and without McBain or Hayton, how surprised would you be on that?
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Well, it's the without McBain part that really concerns me, because he is the prototypical playoff player for the Stanley Cup playoffs. And to have him not in the lineup and to have Utah go up 2-1, I would have not believed you. I would have said you are an optimist as much as I am an optimist. Because let's face it, I'm a huge hockey fan. I get in trouble here all the time because I'm supposed to be a journalist. I'm trying to be a journalist, but when it comes down to it, I'm a hockey fan and I'm a Utah Mammoth fan. So if you would have said, hey, we're going to come out of this 3 games in, we'll be up 2-1, I would have thought, yeah, you're as much a fan as I am, especially without McBain and Hayton. But they're doing it, and it's from top to bottom on that roster. O'Brien was out there, and he was doing exactly what Utah fans wanted him to do, and exactly what you need to do in playoffs. He was tenacious on guys. He was throwing the little extra, the little rabbit punches here and there, and the little cross checks. He got away with most of them. I thought the officiating was a little suspect in some parts. But I never blame a game on officiating. I just thought there were some questionable calls. You always get called for the retaliation. And I just felt it went a little bit different. But, yeah, I mean, from the top of the roster to the bottom of the roster, I thought everybody played really well. I was kind of surprised, honestly, that Vegas didn't pull their goalie. After the 4th goal, all the goals were good. I mean, you want to talk about efficiency. To have 4 goals on 11 shots, I mean – it doesn't get much better than that if you're scoring 50%, basically. It's just an amazing performance. And I think for the novice hockey fans tonight, and whether it's on TV or whether you were here in person, I think this shows you what NHL Stanley Cup playoffs is and why everybody says it's the best time to watch any sport anywhere.
If you've ever Cooley looks like he's 12 years old out there. Young kid's got the choir boy look. He took a vicious high stick there in the first, underneath the chin. And you know what? He shrugged it off and said, yeah, we're good. We're good. And I think that was the power play that Utah got the first goal on.
Yeah, and there was a lot of that, and Utah would take a hit, and they would look, and if there's no call, for the most part, they got right back into the play, and just went with it. But Cooley took a good high stick, set up that power play, and then it's nice to get, if you get hit, it's also nice to get the goal or the assist as it's working out. So it's starting to click, and let's just hope it carries on. Monday's an important game. I mean, every game in the playoffs is important, but Monday's important. If Utah can really do this, if they can pull this off one more game and send this back to Vegas up 3-1, I don't think Vegas would have it in them to come back. Even with their championship and veteran pedigree, I think 3-1 against this young, tenacious Utah team that hopefully gets McBain back. I think the writing's on the wall. It comes down to Monday night.
I know you've got some obligations, so we'll cut you loose here in a second. But what really jumped out to me was how great Utah was in just pestering. I mean, there were a couple times where you thought, okay, this is going to be a problem. Looked like Vegas had a good look at a goal, and a guy would stick a stick in and knock that puck loose. Like, every little thing you needed Utah to do tonight, they did it. The little play, getting in front of the puck, stopping what looked to be fast break opportunities. I know I'm going to sneak in basketball references here and there, but I just thought they were everywhere where they needed to be. They never really felt like they got caught out of position for the most part.
Scotty, you're nailing it. It's exactly right. And it's, fast break or breakaway, whatever you want to call them. But there were times every person did it. I saw, like I was praising Kerfoot because Kerfoot broke up so many plays. And then you saw when it was getting crazy, Lawson Krause had two really good stick plays where he just knocked the puck away. He didn't make contact, but he knocked the puck away, cleared the zone, just enough to reset everything and take all the danger away. Yeah, Vegas did get that second goal, but what you saw was, again, it was everybody's effort. It was all out, and they made sure that, every scoring opportunity, every rebound was cleared. There were two guys on the puck every time it was in the corner. No fair fights in your own zone. That's what we always say, no fair fights. So if one guy goes into the corner with one other guy, you send another guy in to make sure that your team has the advantage in the corner. And I thought it was a masterful game by Utah. And Vegas did have really good efforts, and they more than doubled the shots. But Veggie was solid. The rebound control was solid, and then anytime that there was a question, the rest of the team pitched in and made sure to clear the zone. So, yeah, really good effort. I thought Vegas did exactly what Vegas wanted to do, but Utah just had the answer.
Well, and let's not kid ourselves. Vegas, much like Utah did down in Vegas, they're like, if we can get a split, we're great. Vegas is going to say the same thing. So this game 4 is going to be huge. It is massive. If Utah can send this to Vegas 3-1, Vegas is going to try to go 2-2, and then we're at a best of 3 and start all over again with Vegas having home ice advantage. So as big and as crazy as game 3 was, Mammoth fans have to bring it again in game number 4.
Yeah, for all the energy that was in the air, all the anticipation, game 4 is going to be probably 50% to double what it was tonight, because everybody knows what's on the line. Like the game 4 is going to be huge. If Utah really does it, it's going to right their ship. And I think the Utah fan base really wants to be a part of it. It was so loud. Like, my ears are ringing. It was so loud that my ears started ringing. So the Utah fan base was a big part of tonight. The energy was crazy. The rally towels were crazy. It's just an amazing night for the Utah Mammoth, for Utah hockey, and for the Delta Center. Just everything worked out perfect for the first ever NHL Stanley Cup playoff game in the Delta Center.
So let's do it again on Monday. That's Jay Stevens. I'm Scott Gerard. Jay, great job, man. Look forward to catching up again on this one. That's your
absolutely.
That's your post-game wrap-up. The Mammoth get the victory 4-2, setting up a huge Game 4 coming up on Monday. Mammoth lead this series 2-1 right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and KSLSports.com.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.